This is, I guess it applies to all business owners, but like with content creators specifically, we have a lot of foundational work.
Yep.
Because maybe they are entrepreneurs by accident. Like they never fancied themselves as business owners or business minds. So we very much so have to foundation set with them as far as like separation of church and state in terms of banking, like personal business banking. What type of entity structure makes the most sense? Should I just be a sole proprietor, or have an S corp? And then it's like the payroll. Is it a SEP buyer? Is it a sole 401k? Do I go even further? Cash balance, defined benefit pension plans. Am I taking optimal deductions? Like how good are my books and records? And so it feels like that is a week-to-week client profile for us, right? Like content creators to the nth degree.
Well, and I wouldn't limit it to just content creators. I'd say the business owners, right? I was talking with the team earlier today, and we were talking about like business owners, right? And I think I'm guilty of this. You may be guilty of it. You get so locked into your core competency. I'm really good at doing tax returns. I'm really good at like finding clients, establishing relationships, getting them in the door, and like turning returns, right? But do I think about my like future? Do I think about like 401k funding? Do I think about all these other things? And I think as a business owner, especially in your early years, and probably this speaks more to the content creator side as well, but you're kind of like, okay, we're doing this. Things are going well. When does it all kind of like go bad? Like, or when am I going to lose relevancy? Or when am I not going to be able to develop clients? Or, hey, I can't source materials right now. We have a client that, is doing a household good. I don't want to give out too many details. And they're like, oh, their tenants are causing these issues. And how do I scale the business? And how do I grow it? Right. But they're so like in the weeds of the business. They're not considering all these other aspects of the business of, hey, how do I divert tax? Should I do that even?
Yeah.
Do I make that consideration for paying for today or paying for tomorrow? And how do I strike that balance?
That's the marriage of financial planning and tax, right? How much can you factor the known versus the unknown? And we always want to like lower the bill because it's controllable, knowable today.
Yep.
But there's a certain amount of concern about, delayed gratification. Yep. And then all of a sudden having a liquidity problem.
Yeah. Well, you've heard me say it. And this may be how I'm different. I don't know if you can speak to other tax preparers. I don't think they say this. I say like, look, don't make tax the driver of your decision matrix. Right. Like tax should not be how you are deciding to run your business and the choices you're making. As tough as it is, what's better than cutting down your tax is making another sale. Go make more money. Right. Like, of course, go make more money.
Tends to fix most everything.
Right? Like figure out your pricing, figure out your costs.
That probably is the core client we look for is folks that want to buy back time, which is a great irony given our conversation earlier. So that they can be the best in their business and grow and spend their time kind of in their highest and best use. So I'm going to take the mic back from you and talk about a little bit of a different client avatar, but I guess they're somewhat similar in that content creators are really effectively solopreneurs, freelancers, whether they're Schedule C or a single member LLC with an S election or anything like that.
Trying to figure out outsourcing time, highest and best use.
Pain is the same. Like where the income's coming from is different, but pain is largely the same. Something I've been spending more time on over the years is business owners that have exit planning needs. And this is just a really simple, like long-term utilitarian kind of tax play. And that is just capital losses. Like how can I harvest and weaponize losses if and when they occur? I'd like to pretend that, our investing always goes up. That's not the reality.
It isn't?
No.
The graph doesn't just go to the right and up over time?
I wish. And there are a myriad of ways to weaponize losses if and when they occur. And so making your portfolio, I think, as efficient as possible in terms of harvesting said losses. Yep. So tying this back to business owners, we've had a number of business owners over the years that are either preparing to sell or will need to sell at some future date.
Or they did an installment sale.
This is exactly what I'm getting. Yeah. So if you are, a high earner, you live in a high tax bracket state, you're a service-based business, and you plan on selling either in a lump sum payment or an installment in the future. And let's say maybe you're, for this scenario's perspectives, you're non-QSBS eligible, and you're at some point going to have a big capital gain problem. And let's say you're planning 10, 15 years out. Like I know I'm going to sell my business in the future at some point. How can I start to think about ways And one really simple way is just to begin harvesting losses when available. And so custom indexing is a very popular kind of portfolio deliverable, but at its core, instead of buying like a mutual fund or an index fund, with one ticker symbol, you disintermediate that fund structure, decouple it, and you buy the underlying constituents. So a simple example would be, instead of buying the S&P 500,
instead of buying VU, for example,
instead of buying VU or SPY, you can make it as simple as, I'm going to buy all 500 individual names, which you probably wouldn't, but let's say you do. And now instead of owning one ticker, you own 500. And software has made this deliverable, a lot more scalable these days. And now if a third of the constituents of that market are down, you can harvest and sell just the losers and hold the winners. And these high octane business owners are usually making money, adding money, investing more, creating more losses if and when they occur. And so they're holding their winners and they're selling their losers, and they're building this big war chest. And when you have years like 2022, as an example, or even COVID, the COVID sell-off, even though the market ripped and was up year to date, you harvested a significant amount of losses if you were actively tax loss harvesting on top of a portfolio. And so you kind of get your cake and eat it too. It's like, I'm going to weaponize losses, build this nice war chest of losses, and then I'm going to reinvest immediately to not miss a market bounce. Fast forward to the future, when you sell a business, we worked with a client recently that had, I think it was like $500,000 of harvested losses in kind of the quote unquote war chest, and had no idea.
Yep.
Like, you know why he had no idea? Is because his portfolio was ripped and it's up and it's done very well. And so in his mind, he's like, how is that possible? I have $500,000 of losses on paper. Well, you only realize losses. You held your winners, which can create its own kinds of problems. But that's kind of intentional when you're trying to save those losses to offset future gains when you know they're coming. So if you sell a business for, an installment sale over 5 to 10 years and you're getting $1 million a year and it's all cap gains, you can now start to offset that with some of those harvested losses over time.